Hello again, everybody. This little, I wouldn't even really regard this as a rant. It's just a sort of explanation, and what prompted me actually was a comment that someone made asking, and I've never had this before actually, where someone asks me how much it cost an owner for me to do whatever the necessary work was on his or her bike, and that is something that is strictly confidential between me and whoever the owner might be, or the person who's paying me for doing the work, and I won't share that because that is up to an owner. Now, if such a comment pops up and the owner feels like sort of saying how much they've spent on the job, then fair enough, but it's not for me to sort of say, well, I did this, that or the other to his bike, and all the work came to this and the parts came to that and whatever. But I will say that we're in the middle of 2024 and my current going hourly rate is what I believe to be a very reasonable £40 an hour. So there's that times my hours plus whatever any parts might cost, and that's as much detail as I'm going into really. But it made me sort of think about other things that cross my mind now and again, and that is years ago, before I lived and worked here, I worked from home. I used to, when I had another job, when I used to work in the forestry, as a bit of a hobby and a sideline in my late teens and early to mid-20s, I used to do lots and lots and lots of buying and selling of bikes and fixing them up, and yeah, we'll get this one straightened out and punt it out the door and whatever. And I got I got a lot of young people mobile on motorbikes at very reasonable prices. But in this day and age, and I considered it a long time ago, and a lot of people ask me, you know, do I buy bikes, do them up and sell them? Well, no, I don't. That is a complete no-no for me anyway. I just can't see really, unless you get really, really lucky, how you can buy something expecting to sort of make a profit on it with very little work. Oh, we'll just give it a polish up and an oil change and whatever and knock it out the door for 1,500 quid more than it cost. Great. Oh yeah, if you could do that, then brilliant. But I used to do some work for a dealer in classic bikes who, well, he eventually decided that he'd obviously made his money and retired, and I'd often get bikes in from him, and it'd be the same sort of thing every time. Oh look, Paul, can you just sort this one out please? I've actually sold this a few weeks ago, but the owner's complaining that this, that and the other's not right, and can you try and do it for as cheap as possible, because you know I've already sold it and it's eating into my profit margins, but I want to keep him happy and what. So all that sort of stuff, you know, I did what I could for the guy and I got paid my hourly rate and for my hours, couldn't complain. But let's just say that I had a bike here that I bought to do up and sell, and I sold it to someone, and let's say it was 5,000 quid they bought it for. So they take the bike away, they give me the money. How long should I sit on that money for before I can really sort of say to myself, right, that's my money? Because how do I know if they're not going to come banging on the door in a fortnight's time saying, you said that this was, you know, and obviously I might have the video proof of me riding something that worked perfectly at the time, but you get somebody that's got a gripe about something, or something's cropped up, they're not happy, and well, I've spent a lot of money on this, I gave you a lot of money for this, I expect this to be better than that. So that basically is why I never went into buying and selling, and I just decided that I would work on bikes for owners and try and help them out and get things going as they should if I can, and you pay me so much per hour and I'll do what I can, and the parts will cost X amount, and obviously they're going to come into the bill as well, and that's it. Also, another thing which was quite amusing at the time, I only ever heard it once, but it was actually a guy asked me how much will it cost, because I build wheels as well, as some of my viewers might well know. How much will it cost me? I've got a BSA Bantam I'm doing it. I want wheels rebuilt, so I want new rims, new spokes, paint the hubs, put new tyres on it. And how much is that going to cost me then? And I remember saying at the time, well, you're probably not going to have much change out of about 450 to 500 pounds by the time all that's been done and your new tyres, tubes, rim tapes, everything have been put on your two wheels. Well, it's only a BSA Bantam, it's not a Gold Star. And my answer was, well, how many wheels has a Bantam got on it? And how many wheels has a Gold Star got on it? Go home and work it out. And then when the penny drops, perhaps you'll understand. It doesn't matter what the value or potential value of a bike is in circumstances like that. It's like getting a frame painted or whatever. There's small bikes and there's big bikes, and like perhaps a Bantam frame won't need quite as much paint on it as perhaps a Norton Featherbed or something, and the preparation work might be a little bit quicker, but really, by and large, there ain't going to be a lot in it. And that is why I do what I do. People bring bikes into me. I don't know how much of the one we might be able to see behind me there, but this is a prime example of a bike that might really not be worth a hell of a lot of money. It's not, and it's not a Gold Star, it's not a Bruff Superior, nothing like that, obviously, but it is, or can be and should be now, quite an enjoyable bike for the owner or anyone that appreciates revving the nuts off a little Triumph engine and hitting the dirt. And I found it very enjoyable when I rode it the other day. But as for what's been spent on it, it's probably a hell of a lot more than the owner expected to spend, but not because I've been taking him for some sort of mug. I've got all the videos to prove the battles that I've got involved in with this one, and it took me by surprise as well. I really didn't think it was going to sort of be as long and drawn out as it was, but you can never really tell with these things, and that brings me to the crux of it. If you buy a non-running bike in rough condition, you can't just necessarily expect to clean the carburettor out, change the oil, pump up the tyres and whatever, and everything will be hunky-dory, because we don't really know. There's so many ifs and buts in this, you can't predict what something might cost. The only thing that you can really sort of hopefully know for sure is that if it's a bike that you're sure you're going to enjoy, and perhaps even cherish when it's sorted out, then it's worth doing. But this guy, he's not going to make a profit on this bike. If I'd bought this bike for what it might have been worth and done all the work I did on it, I would be making a huge loss. But at the end of the day, you've still got something. In the case of this one, it's a little bit different, it's interesting, it's quirky, and it's damn good fun. And the smile that it might put on someone's face is really, at the end of the day, what it's all about and what it's worth. And that is pretty much all I can say about it. Happy days.